Good morning, sir. I am Mary Grace Villaga, and today I will discuss the pieces of crisis management. So let's talk about the crisis. What is crisis? The crisis is from the Greek word crisis, which means to separate. And the pieces of crisis management, it has three types. The first is the proactive phase, which is meant to predict or prevent the probability of occurrence while preparing to handle incidents. During this phase, crisis managers assess, arrest, and manage issues that could escalate into a crisis. Second, the reactive phase. This phase are actual execution or implementation of the contingency plan. And the third phase is the post-conflict phases. When the both proactive phase and reactive phase are done, at these pieces are fully implemented the plans. We have types of crisis. Crises are either man-made or natural crisis. Man-made crisis, the example of these are those public rallies, hostage situations, barricade situation, kidnapping, bombing threats, and other crisis situation. So first, we have different types of man-made crisis. First, the civil disturbance, which means or also referred to a civil disorder or a civil unrest or a public disturbance. Civil disturbance has four types. First, the labor strikes or demonstration. Example of these are working conditions, fair treatment, and better wages. Second, riots, which is the violent public disorder or the disturbance of the public peace. It was assembled by 3 or 2 or more persons. Third, the anarchy. This is those without a leader or absence of the leaders. These are happen or result of political and social disorder due to lack of government controls. 5. Huelga ng bayan. Example of this is the public transportation. The shops are all closed, and the community members set up those barricades to stop and not cooperating the private vehicles. B, which is the revolt. Revolt are those people who refuse to be controlled or ruled by the government, which are who use of violent action. Revolt has 3 types of revolt. 1, the mutiny. Those are overact or attack the military authority. These are those who disobeying the authority. And third, man-made crisis has 2 types. First, the civil disturbance, which is referred to the civil disorder of civil unrest or a public disturbance. Those are the public disturbance people. Civil disturbance has 4 types. First, the labor strikes or demonstration. Example of this are working condition, fair treatment, and better wages. These are the common mga hangyo sa mga katauhan. Second, the riots. This is those people who violent in the public. Those who disturbance of the public peace. These are commonly assembled by 3 or more persons. Third, anarchy. The anarchy happen when a society has no leader or without a leader or absence of the leader. These are the result of political and social disorder due to the lack of government control. Fourth, the Huelga ng bayan. Huelga ng bayan, example of this is the public transportation. All shops are closed. The community members set up barricades to stop cooperating those private vehicles. And B, the revolt. Revolt means or are those people who refuse to control or rule which are happen in violent action. Revolt ay yung mga taong gustong mga taong hindi nagpapakontrol o hindi sumusunod sa mga patakaran. Kaya mas pinili na lang ang maging violente. Okay, ang revolt ay mayroong 3 klase. Una ay ang mutiny. Mutiny ay isang overt act or attack or uma-attack ng mga military authority. Yung hindi sumusunod ng mga rules sa mga otoridad. Second, the insurrection. Insurrection refers to the revolt act or rebellion. These are those who against the government, authority or government. And third, the coup.
Revolution is when people or systems push for a dramatic change, often because they want freedom, justice, or progress. Example of revolution: a sudden or a complete marked change in something. Border incident. Border incident is a conflict or confrontation at or near a national boundary, often involving military forces, and can lead to increased tensions or conflict between countries. Example of border incident. It resulted in deaths on both sides despite no guns being fired. War. War is a serious and destructive conflict usually fought between groups or nations to gain control, defend beliefs, or protect interests, and often leads to great human suffering. Examples, causes of war. Political power struggle. Conventional war is a traditional military conflict between organized forces using standard weapons and tactics without weapons of mass destruction. Example of conventional war: World War I and World War II, large-scale wars with tanks, planes, and infantry. Biochemical war involves using deadly disease or poisonous chemicals as weapons. For example, smallpox used to infect population. Nuclear war is a global threat where the use of nuclear weapons causes mass destruction, long-term suffering, and possibly the end of civilization. Example of nuclear war: one bomb can kill hundreds of thousands of people instantly. Kidnapping. Kidnapping is when someone is taken away or held against their will, often by force, and it is illegal and dangerous. Hijacking means tracking or control of a vehicle by force and is dangerous, illegal, and often aimed at getting money, power, or attention. Hostage taking. Hostage taking is the forcible holding of someone to demand something in return. Terrorist activities. Terrorist activities are violent, fear-based acts meant to pressure or punish societies, governments, or groups. Attacks or raids. A raid is a fast, surprise attack, often for a specific goal with a quick exit.
Good day everyone, my name is Jobert Emata, and this day I will going to discuss about natural crisis. What is natural crisis? Natural crisis is disturbance in environment and nature lead into natural crisis. These events are generally beyond control of human being. So basically, the natural crisis is not human-made. For example, like earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, landslides, volcanic eruptions, wildfires, tsunamis, and drought. Next, we have fire hazard. Fire hazard is any conditions or act which increases or may cause an increase in the probability of the occurrence of fire, or which may construct, delay, hinder, or interference. Next, we have marine air disaster. Air incidents normally includes civil aircraft accidents, while waterborne disasters occur in water areas such as sea, rivers, and lakes. Most of these disasters are sea mishaps. Next, we have structural collapse. Collapse refers to the failure of structures or component to maintain its structural integrity. Structures that could collapse include buildings, bridges, and structures. Structural collapse may be caused by natural phenomena such as earthquakes, tornadoes, or severe storms. Design and constructions defect, fire or explosion, terrorist attack. We have two ways of structural collapse. First, we have explosion. These types of collapse is caused when interior weight-bearing structures lose their integrity and subsequently. And the next one is explosion. These types of collapse is caused by an outward rise of force from natural, mechanical, or chemical force, which results in the building collapsing in outward direction. Next, we have hazardous spill. It is a spill in which there is significant amount in hazardous materials released, or more in which the substance cannot be controlled. Ito yung hindi na may control. And the next one, we have utilities failure. It refers to any unplanned manufacture or failure of essential utility system. Next, nuclear accident. Nuclear accident is an event that has led to significant consequences to people, the environment, or the facility. For example, include the lethal effects to individual, large of radioactive activity released to the environment or the reactor. And the next one is food scarcity or famine. It is a severe and prolonged hunger in a substantial proportion of the population of a region or country, resulting in widespread and acute malnutrition and death. And the next one, fuel shortage. It refers to the scarcity of resources that are considered as fuel in an economy. During a shortage, local authorities and fuel suppliers will prioritize getting fuel to key assets such as emergency operations centers, hospitals, food supply dealers, water supply plants, and telecommunication networks. And the next one is pestilence or epidemic. Epidemic is an outbreak of disease that spreads quickly and affects many individuals at the same time. Pestilence is a contagious or infectious epidemic disease that is virulent and devastating. The level of disease are: first, we have sporadic, refers to the disease that occurs infrequently and irregularly. Next one is endemic, refers to the constant presence and or usual prevalence of disease or infectious agent in population within a geographic area. Hyperendemic refers to the present high levels of disease occurrence. The next one is epidemic, refers to an increase of 10 sudden in the number of cases of disease above what is normally expected the population that area. Ito yung masyadong malawak-lawak na ang naapektuhan ng sakit. And the next one is outbreak. Carries the same definition of epidemic but is often used for more limited geographic area. Kasing katulad lang ito ng epidemic pero mas malawak ito na nasakupan. And the next one is cluster. Refers to an aggregation of cases grouped in a place and time that are suspected to be greater than the number expected, even though the expected number is may not known. And the last one is pandemic. Refers to an epidemic that has spread over several countries and continents, usually affecting a large number of people. Ang pangunahing halimbawa ng pandemic ay yung COVID-19 na bago lang nangyari sa atin.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bidswar Ismail, and now I'm going to discuss minor flooding. Minor flooding is an inundation may or may not be due to overbanking. When there is not bank overflow, flooding is simply due to the accumulation of excessive surface runoff in a low-lying areas. Flood waters are usually confined to the floodplain of the river along the channel and random low-lying areas and depressions in the terrain. Flood water is usually shallow and there may not be a perceptible flow. Example of minor flooding can happen due to the heavy rain, poor drainage, or localized water issue. And the next is major flooding. Flooding is caused by the overflowing of rivers and lakes by serious breaks in dikes, levees, and dams and other protective structures. By uncontrollable release of impounded water in reservoirs and by the accumulation of excessive runoff. Floodwaters cover a wide contiguous and spread rapidly to adjoining case of relatively lower elevation. Flooding is relatively deep in the most parts of the flood spreads of the other areas. Major flooding can result from heavy rainfall, storms, surges, dam breaks, or overflowing rivers. And the next is earthquake. It refers to the sudden shaking of the ground caused by the passage of seismic waves through Earth's rocks. And there are two types of earthquakes in the Philippines. They are tectonic earthquake. They are produced by sudden movement along faults and plate boundaries. And second is volcanic earthquakes. They are induced by rising lava or magma beneath active volcanoes. And the next is typhoon. A typhoon is a type of tropical cyclone that forms into the western Pacific Ocean. It's a powerful storm with strong winds, heavy rainfall, and storm surges that can cause significant damage and flooding in coastal areas.
So my topic is about crisis management and types of crisis. So the 5P crisis management model is envisioned to address crisis situation in adherence. So this model provides a structured approach to crisis management to help an organization to prepare a response to recover from crisis effectively, and it consists a prediction to identify the potential risks and threats. Proactive phase. So number one is predict. So this stage involves foretelling of the likelihood of crisis, either natural occurring or man-made, through the continuous assessment of all possible threats and threat groups. So in this, crisis management predict refers to the ability to potential crisis or risk by predicting an organization that can take a proactive step to prevent their impact and ensuring preparedness and response. So strategic situation awareness, so it means generating foresight in a crisis management. So it enables an organization to quickly detect and understand emerging issues, and it allowing for swift response and effective crisis management. Strategic situation awareness, so it means generating foresight in a crisis management. It is strategically preventing crisis. Because the goal of this is to respond quickly and effectively to minimize the crisis and stabilize the situation. Operational situation awareness, so the goal of this crisis is to provide the information for the agency department preparation and execution of contingency. Means in this phase is conducting organization can refine their crisis management strategies and improve their response to future crises that helps the organization. So this operational situation awareness in crisis management is refers to have a clear understanding of the situation on the effective decision making. First is planning and direction, which is identify the courses of action with a specific information. Second is collection, which is gathering the information of the special collection methods. Third is processing, which is evaluating all the gathered information. Fourth is analysis production, which is answering the initial information. And last is dissemination, which is the final written analysis to support the information. So tactical situation awareness, so it is the systematic and continuous process of monitoring and identify threats shortly during the crisis. So this awareness is to describe the impact of the operating environment to identify the threats of crisis. Preparedness is essential for effective response. It entails planning, organization, training, and stockpiling of equipment and supplies needed for such crisis emergencies. So this is to test the effectiveness preparation to logistic to better cope with actual crisis emergencies. Prevention is a deliberate action that aims to avoid future harm by addressing its cause. So this crisis is closely related to mitigation, which is a potentially harmful incident but can be minimized by precautionary measures. Reactive phase performance is the actual implementation of contingency plans when a crisis occurs. Post-conflict phase, post-action and assessment. So post-action is a component which begins with the crisis has been addressed and the situation is deemed clear.